So Dr. Tosin, the last time we spoke, we had highlighted the importance of intermittent fasting and how it is a subject matter on its own, and
Yeah.
how we should actually have a meeting to discuss just that, right? And the importance of intermittent fasting in weight loss, in health regeneration, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let's key into that and see what we can talk about today to help people, right?
Okay. Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. So yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start with? In all right. So I think generally for people, when we say intermittent fasting, I believe most people these days might have an understanding of it. So, but for anybody who, for some strange reason, this is the first time you're hearing the word intermittent fasting. Essentially, how I define intermittent fasting personally is going through periods of time where you are, one, either restricting your calories, or two, not having any calories at all. Um, and you fit it into a window. So the common thing that we talk about fasting, if we go back anciently, most of the common religions out there have done some form of fasting. Muslims do Ramadan, Christians, Catholics, or Catholics do the Lent, and most churches do like a period of fasting. So you omit food and water together, or maybe just food and water for some people, go through the whole
Yes.
day, that kind of thing, and do not have a meal till maybe later in the day or later in the evening, depending on how the person can tolerate it. So that is the bog standard word fasting. Essentially, in medicine, we found out that not the whole of medicine, the sector people have come up with the fact that that has its benefits for health. So before we go forward, everybody, most people, if you say intermittent fasting, they understand the whole concept of you eat at a certain time, you don't eat at a certain time. Now, I've come to learn from other people that mentor me online is that technically is better defined as time restricted feeding. So
Yes.
we're using the word time. So you are eating between a particular window. What the
Yes.
commonest one is what they say. Some people you hear the word 12-8. So they do not eat for 12 hours and they eat all their calories within an 8-hour period. So they eat between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. So that is what is generally known as intermittent fasting. But true intermittent fasting, in the whole sense of it, is actually going for a set period of days where you either one, reduce your caloric intake to a certain amount, or two, go 0 calories and just do water for anything from 24 hours to 1 week. And the people have done it for 40 days. So yeah, the 40-day fasting. I mean, that's what Jesus did in the Bible, fasted for 40 days, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's how intermittent fasting can be looked at. So I'm sure someone that is hearing this will be like, no food. But we'll get there. We'll have that chat. Okay.
Very, very interesting. And a lot of people should understand that intermittent fasting, like you just said now, can be varied depending on where you are, what your goal is, what you are trying to achieve. You know, he spoke about the 12 to 8 thing. So you can have it 12 noon to 8 p.m. So you have that 8-hour window to eat. You could even have like what I think what I do now, because I won't officially say that I'm intermittent fasting per se, but at the end of the day, it fits into that description.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find out that I eat actually from about 12 o'clock
Yeah.
till about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I find that I hardly eat my breakfast before 12 these days.
Yeah.
Then I try to eat my dinner before 8 or at about that time. So
Yeah.
I have 3 meals usually, but within that window. So you can have your regular calories. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to lose weight, then you are counting your calories to be in a deficit so that you actually end up being in a caloric deficit from your
Yeah.
meals. That's
Yeah.
one angle of handling your weight loss. Then the fasting is helping you to burn fat within that window. So you
Yeah.
have two things going on at the same time concurrently. You are
Yeah.
in a scenario where you are minimizing caloric intake, and you're in another scenario where you are giving your body 12 to 16 hours, sometimes even 18 hours to actually burn the fat that it has actually reserved in.
Yeah.
So two things are going on at the same time. You are burning fat and you're limiting calories. And over time, you're going to actually see that you are losing the weight, especially when you add exercise to this mix.
Yeah.
So it is a tool that anyone who wants to lose weight in a healthy way should actually put into consideration, or take into consideration rather, and
Oh yeah.
then utilize. Right? It's something that you should utilize. Then, as
Yeah.
you advance, So what I just explained now is a general thing. And me being a bodybuilder, I'm in a state of maintenance. When I'm bulking, I probably will not be doing intermittent fasting like this.
Mhm.
I will probably have bigger meals. But in maintenance or in cutting, cutting is this is a phase in bodybuilding when you are trying to you've built up some muscle mass, you might have
Yeah,
gotten some fat in that process, and you want to shed your fat. So intermittent fasting and HIIT cardio is very, very useful in that
mhm.
scenario.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when you are maintaining yourself also, when you just want to maintain a particular weight, like now I'm weighing between 87 and 90 kg,
yeah.
you intermittent fasting is also a very, very good thing. It helps you to stay lean while you are able to maintain your body mass or your
Hmm.
muscle mass. So it's a very, very, very useful tool you can use. And besides, like Doctor will tell us today, there are health benefits. So beyond just the fact that you're going to lose weight, there are other things that we're going to analyze. So Tosin,
Hmm.
can you start digging into those things now? What are the other things that you can get from intermittent fasting besides just weight loss?
Okay. So, I mean, people talk of weight loss. I think we'll quickly touch on that, then we'll segue into the
Yes,
other thing. So,
yes.
essentially, the greatest tool that you can do to lose weight is to not eat. It's just pretty much straightforward. You've got a tank that's filling up and it's not emptying out as fast as possible. Just stop putting stuff inside. That's just it. Obviously, a lot of people will come up with the whole concept of if you don't eat, it's dangerous for the body. But we can get into that. There's some nuances in there. We're not going to say you're going to starve. There's a difference between intermittent fasting and starvation. I mean, starvation is an extreme form where your body is not able to break down calories and you're not taking the fluids. That's something completely different. So coming back to the issue of weight loss. So one of the other ways that intermittent fasting helps is that your body has a source of energy that we use. Everybody is common and they understand that, okay, you use glucose as a source of energy. What a lot of people don't understand is that there is an alternative source of energy that the body doesn't necessarily always tap into, and that is ketones. So that is a completely different thing. I'm sure people, when you hear ketones, people have heard of the keto diet and the ketogenic diet. So that also works there. If you do intermittent fasting, in some people, depending on the extent that they go, it actually sends their body into ketosis. How that works is simple. Your body stores glucose as two forms, glycogen or fat. That's what insulin does. So we either convert it into glycogen, excess amount, or fat. Now, glycogen is stored in only two places in the body, in the liver or in your muscle. And when you start doing intermittent fasting and reducing the amount of calories you are taking in, so your body's energy demands need to be met initially. First, it goes into the liver, asks for the glycogen. Guy, can you give me this glycogen? Let me go and burn it. Burns it through. When it burns through the glycogen, it has to go and burn other ones. So it burns the ones in your muscles. So essentially, once it has depleted that amount, it has to find or ask for an alternative source of energy. And that's where the fatty acids come in and you start burning fat. So the whole concept of burning fat to lose weight, that's how it works in. So your body asks for the fat, sends it into fatty oxidation cycle and breaks it down into what we call the energy currency. The energy currency, for anybody that's done integrated science or biochemistry, is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That is really the energy currency that we need in our body. And that is another thing that we're using to do that and burn that energy. So you start burning the fat. That is one of the ways you start breaking down the fat molecules in your body. I think there are other pathways, but we don't need to go into that too much.